Yankee Kilo, Tango Charlie 92. Tango Charlie 92, go ahead.
Yes, sir, make your way to Ralph's house, please. Ralph's house.
Roger that, will do.
What a beautifully sunny morning here at Ralph's house. Yes, and good to know that the boys in blue are on their way to help me. Fantastic. Yeah, a couple of jobs. Well, I've got lots of jobs. There's always lots of jobs to do. But I need to get this skirting sanded down. But you'll be pleased to hear I'm finally going to tackle this job. No good time to do it, but they do need cutting off. So what I have to do is get this piece of wood off first. And then I need to chip the plaster away, unfortunately, and cut into these with an angle grinder, cut them off, and then I can plaster over those. I'll be glad to see the back of these, even though, as you know, this is Steve's gym. Believe it or not, that took 10 minutes. Slightly deaf as well, but at least I've got it. At least they're lower than the plaster now. I can get some PVA in there and plaster those over. Couldn't find my hand brush. That'll do. Just as long as I get all the loose bits out, and then I can PVA it. Incidentally, PVA is woodworker's glue, if you're not familiar with it. And if you only want to buy a small quantity, you could get a little bottle in pound stores, to be honest, and you're watering it down anyway. Say about 1 part PVA, 2 parts water, or yeah, about that. Right, so we'll get that in the get that on that rust off, because if you don't do that, as I've said many times before, if you try and plaster in a hole like that, A, it won't stick, and well, B, it's such dry plaster on the wall, it will suck all the moisture out of the plaster you put in, and it will simply fall out. So you want PVA. Penny in there, especially around the edges, if you want to get a good bond on that. I shall use bonding plaster because it does exactly what it says it will. But you still need the PVA, you know, to avoid it shrinking. Also, you know, like I say, help it stick. Stephen Mitchell mentioned to me a little while back about trying to get plaster to adhere to tiles. You know, I didn't know you could plaster over tiles successfully. You think they'd be too shiny, but apparently they use this stuff called blue grit, which I imagine is PVA with a kind of grit in it, I would think. That comes under various names, but that's basically what it is. Very important you do this, get them nice and wet, you know, but always wipe off from the wall if it runs down, because that makes a mess of your decorating later on. Normally when you mix plaster, the rule is you put the water in first and add the plaster to it, but when you're mixing it little quantities like that, as long as you give it a good mix up, it'll be fine. And you want it quite stiff. If it's too wet, it will crack. But before I put that on the wall, I'm going to put a dab more PVA on it. And the brick soon soaks it up, and then we can get some plaster in there. Oh, very therapeutic always. Right, plaster. You want to push that well in there, but don't have it too, you don't want it proud of the surface. It should, if if I just show you this, you see like it's level there. And I'm just going to run around, just take that just below the surface, because the last coat, whether you use finishing plaster or polyfiller, you only want to put a little bit on, and that's much easier to smooth. Trust me, bonding plaster is not easy to smooth. You see that, it's just perfect, just sits just below, you know, the surrounding plaster. But the important thing is just take off any that you've got around the outside. That's because it does not sand at all well, bonding plaster. It'll soon finish off your sandpaper. Oh look, polyfiller. I bet it was me dad who loved his polyfiller, but he did put it in with a spoon. Yeah, so that's those filled in. Just need now to wipe down the wall, get off this excess PVA before it dries. I use these little takeaway trays, but you can use, well, you can use margarine tubs if they're strong enough, or ice cream tubs, things like that. And the great thing about them is you can keep reusing them, because when you use what you've got in the bottom, if you've got any other holes around, but to be honest, if you leave this overnight, it'll set solid. Then just give it a, well, I'll show you. Give it a kind of squeeze in the morning, and it'll all come off the sides, and you'll be able to use it again. That's that done, and that's your gym gone as well, Steve. Good rinse. If you're wondering what those brackets were, they originally held a tank, because there was an immersion heater down there, which we discovered after it was removed and stood in the middle of the room, and it was actually leaking. Probably had been for years. So just as well that had to come out. Apparently it's quite common on immersion heaters, you know. You get a leak somewhere on one of the seams at the bottom and they just drip, drip, drip. So yeah, that was scraps. I was glad to see the back of that. These are a sort of challenge, because where there was originally a cupboard in this alcove, made when the house was built, incidentally. But as was the tradition, they would chisel away some of the render between the bricks, hammer a piece of wood in, and they would fix to that. You know, you got to remember, this is the days before raw plugs. They didn't exist, well, not in that form. They were sort of I remember years ago you could get a kind of raw plug mixture in a pot that was a bit like a very rough plaster, and you put that in the hole, and you could screw into that. I don't know, I suppose the raw plug killed it, the plastic raw plug. But that one sits a bit proud, so I'm going to have to either chisel that away, take it down, or try and wriggle it out. I don't like doing that because it tends to loosen everything up. Yeah, so a couple of days, at least 2 days, to let that go off, because in places that's it's about 1 inch thick, and you soon know when it's going off, because it will go really pale when it's gone off, and then you know you can put your next coat on. But important that you do that. No point trying to decorate over stuff that hasn't fully gone off, because it will keep trying to push moisture to the surface, and it will just stain the paint. Now this is my next job. This is outside the bathroom door, and because I've got decorating coming up in no time at all on my team of decorators, I don't want any jobs left on this floor that are going to create dust and mess. And certainly not on the stairs. I really want to get this finished, but I need to put a back box in there, and I could chisel it away, but this plaster's got minute cracks in it. I just don't want to upset it, so I'm going to have to chase this out with that and create a box up there. But I'm going to have to shield this glass a little bit because it's going to shoot that direction, so I'll have to put a board up or something like that. So I'll source that, and then we'll get cutting up there. Have enough depth to put a box in, and a little chase up to the ceiling where the cable will run. A bit like the one that's come down here, in fact. So right, let's see what I can find to cover that. Plastic box lid. That'll do just right sitting on there. So right up we get, let's start cutting. There we go, that's the back box cut out, and the channel to run the cable down. And each to their own on this one, but I've tried 2 or 3 methods of chasing out back boxes. I've done it the hard way with hammer and bolster, but this plaster is so weak, you know, what all you do is just disturb the surrounding area, and also the brick is so hard to chisel. So I found this is the best way to do it. And when I come to fill it, it all disappears. All those little slots that I've cut in, they all disappear when I've finished it. So, you know, that one was cut the same way. The plaster all filled it around the side, so it's just the quickest. It is unfortunately the messiest way of doing it, but it is damn quick. And as I'm in a house that's unoccupied at the moment, that's the way we're going to do it. I've got to say, this front bedroom is like a gorgonzola cheese. My father liked his shelves, rule plugs everywhere. Anyway, I've put a bit of PVA in these, mix up some polyfin, and I'll get those filled in. The more of these I do, the better. It's worth noting actually, when you fill these holes, it's no good just doing that, because that isn't filling the hole. You've got to get a corner of your trowel and actually put it in there, allow the air to get out, in other words. Then you're done. I've got to say, I keep thinking the room's full of dust, and it's not, it's on my glasses. Oh well. I'm just caulking this edge along the skirting, because, you know, when I come to paint it, you notice the gaps more, so I've just filled those. What I plan to do tonight is come down and paint that skirting tonight down to there, and then tomorrow I'll sand down there, around there, and then I should paint those tomorrow. Yeah, I should paint this one tonight as well. Well, that's it from Ralph's house, and the police arrived. I don't know why. Hammering on the door about 5 minutes ago. 2 police officers stood there, one with a roller in his hand and the other with a paintbrush. And I said, yeah, what's up, lads? And he says, where's the wall, mate? I said, what? He said, where's the wall? He said, we were told to, you know, get to Ralph's house. I said, well, you know, I haven't called anybody or anything. It's not an emergency. I mean, you're welcome to come in and paint a bit of skirting and have a cup of tea, but you know, I said, otherwise I'm fine. He said, oh, well, he said, to be honest, he said, we've got to get back to the station because the sergeant normally has his toasted tea cakes this time of day, so, you know, he'd be disappointed if we don't get back. So I said, well, thanks anyway, lads, you know, and off they went. Well, they're still outside now, you know, you can hear them. But, you know, they're going, right. And, yeah, so that's it from Ralph's house. Like below, you know, like you see that thumbs up or thumbs down. Hopefully you'll do that one, because that's Ralph's house, you see. Leave a comment. Hello to everyone in Pershore and surrounding districts. I know you all watch. And that's it. I will see you tomorrow. I shall be back tonight to paint that and that and this length. That's what I decided to do, and then I should do the last bit tomorrow. That'll be the skirting painted, and I can screw all these boards down, and then I can clear out of this room. I've just got a little bit of cleaning around the window, that sort of stuff, and you know, I might need to paint the sill, but otherwise we're kind of there in here now. And I've already started in the next bedroom, which is considerably worse than this one. So that's it from Ralph's house. Thanks for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.